Continue to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
620 Rip City Radio, KPOJ, Portland.
Down to 6 seconds. Scoot's got it. Top of the key. Drives, attacks on Kessler. Stops, turns, fades. Hits it! With 1/10 of a second, Scoot Henderson gives the Blazers the lead. Timeout, Utah.
That was the shot last night that you all saw as Scoot Henderson did his job, and he hit the game winner. It was a coming out party for Scoot. It was absolutely wonderful. Moda Center was popping. Man, what was not to like about that one? Welcome into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for Blazers versus Mavericks. We're going to have some fun. The Mavericks, though, they're not having fun. They're without Luka Doncic for the next month as he's dealing with a calf strain. They are also without P.J. Washington and Marshall tonight, both being suspended after their altercation with the Bosnian Beast. So look at that. Nurk not even playing in Portland, but he's getting work done. If you want to join the conversation today, head on over to Twitter or Blue Sky, whichever one you're using nowadays. Type in Chris J. Burkhardt. That's where you can find me. You can find super producer Brendan Slaughter over at B_slot. And, of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the conversation there as well. But joining me today is a friend of the show. Most of you are aware of him if you've been tuning in to the old Rip City Drive now and then, or the courtside on occasion, because he's came and joined in. So Peyton Davis joining me today. Peyton, how you doing today, bud?
I am doing well, Chris. Happy to be here. Thanks again for having me, and I'm excited to talk some Blazers tonight.
Of course you are excited to talk Blazers tonight, Peyton, because how could you not be excited? I told Brendan last night to play this thing like 20 times, and I got to play it one more time because it's a thing of beauty.
Music to my ears.
Well, I was going to play it, and now it doesn't want to work because, we have audio issues. My bad. Turn that off, plug that out. Brendan, on air producing, you're going to have to get all that other audio ready. I'm not trusting my computer anymore. But we won't play the highlight again. But it was beautiful. We got through run one before I got the issues there. But the Blazers, man, let's look at this last night, Peyton. We'll get your thoughts on it. I want to go through the box score first off. This was a great game for the Blazers because you saw what happened, obviously, last time Utah came to town. Might have been the worst loss of the season. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Memphis game, you had the season opener against the Warriors, what have you. But this game, they didn't have Lauri Markkanen, and it threw them off, as Coach said. They went out, they got the doors blown off them. So this was a redemption game, right? And they go in there, they handle business. Defense plays good, offense plays good, and they get a 122-120 victory on the back of guys like Scoot Henderson. He comes off the bench. He has 18 points, 10 rebounds. And as you were talking to me as we were walking in the arena, you were sitting there and you were like, 18 points, 10 rebounds. That's a good game. And then you're like, oh, one turnover. I mean, what a nice performance from Scoot, right?
Absolutely. And you talk about, the things that are super exciting when you watch Scoot develop, but, having the 18 points is great. Having the 10 assists is awesome. But that one turnover is really what stands out to me, especially having confidence going into that last shot.
Yeah. It was great to see that he had that confidence, as you said. Kirk says Mavs a trade partner for the Blazers now that Luke is out. I don't know. Maybe they want to get in on the Anthony Simon sweepstakes. But the thing with the Mavs being a trade partner for the Blazers now that Luke is out, I think the smart move for the Mavs right now is don't panic. You just got to get through this. He'll be reevaluated in a month's time, and hopefully you're good to go. I mean, Dallas right now, fourth best team in the West. They're 20-11. They can afford to hit a couple hiccups here and there, and they're not going to fall too far. So you don't want to blow it up or lose a piece just because you're trying trying to get something to get you through the Luke-less time. And the thing is, too, Peyton, even without Luka, you got some dude named Kyrie Irving who's been pretty darn good his entire career. So they're going to find ways to still be effective. So the Blazers, they want to get a second win in a row. They're still going to have to be effective and play an A-plus game tonight.
Absolutely. And I think that obviously you want to say it makes it easier not having some Luka magic on the floor for the Mavericks. But, man, if there was a guy to, the way that they're playing, the way that they're commanding the floor right now, Kyrie Irving scares me, just as much coming into this game.
Yeah, Kyrie is pretty good. But looking back at that game against Utah, we'll get plenty into what Dallas is doing and what we can expect.
Yep.
That game against Utah, Lauri Markkanen did play in this one. He had 25.6 rebounds and an assist, 18 points from Svi Mikhailiuk, 5 points from Walker Kessler to go with 2 blocked shots and 16 rebounds. So he did his job. 19 points from Colin Sexton, 15 points from Blazer legend, Beaver legend, Drew Eubanks.
Absolutely.
You weren't here for this one, but he was out there warming up pregame. You'll appreciate this. He was out there warming up pregame. And you know how I know? Even though I can't see out to the bowl from my spot right here?
It was the loudest it had been.
No, they played the chainsaw as soon as he
really?
came out on the court.
That's awesome.
They knew what they were doing. Now, on the Blazers side of things, Tamani Kamara, 6 points, 8 rebounds, a block shot and a steal. 14 points from Jeremy Grant. Still kind of a low-scoring output from him. He's been off lately.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton, a pretty solid game. 18 points, 12 rebounds, 2 block shots. Like what you got from him. Shaedon Sharpe, 27 points and 5 rebounds. We already talked about Scoot. To me, the talk of the town in this one, outside of that game winner, was Denny Avdia. 27 points. He had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, a block shot. He was doing it all. And lately, Peyton, he's been the Blazers' most consistent, if not best player on the court.
I'll key in on a little surprise on my cold hard fact, but I'll tell you that later. But it does revolve around Denny Avdia and the way that he kind of brings the energy for the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah. Hey, and Kirk points out here, he says, my favorite quote, Scoot would rather take a game winner than stand in the corner. Shots fired is what he says in the YouTube chat. And, hey, Kirk is spot on. Here's the deal. I think sometimes people just say stuff. I'm a talking head. Sometimes I just say stuff, okay? But also sometimes you say things that are very, very calculated. And I think it meant something when Scoot said, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to his post-game interview with Brooke, but Brooke asks him about hitting that game winner, and he's like, yeah, I'd much rather be taking that shot than sitting in the corner. And it's like, oh, yeah, a shot fired a little bit because he sits in the corner a lot in this offense waiting for the ball, which I just can never understand because he's better with the ball in his hands making plays like that. And in the post-game interview at the press, he was asked about that as well, and he's like, the ball was in my hand. Of course I was going to go take that shot.
Yeah.
And I like that mentality. You and I were talking on the ride over here, man, about guys like Ben Simmons. Everyone remembers the playoffs with the 76ers. Wide open three. He doesn't take it. Some people just don't want to take that shot. Scoot wanted to take that shot, so you absolutely love to see it. And in this game all the way around, like you said, the 10 assists, only 1 turnover. That's what they want from Scoot in the long run. And something we've been harping is that assist-to-turnover ratio. And for the Blazers, too, they only had 11 turnovers to their 26 assists, which is great. That 26 assist number still – it's not crazy, but it's good for them, right? But the more so, we've seen a lot of games, man, where they hit their average of 26, 27 assists, but they have 18 turnovers, 19 turnovers, 20 turnovers, what have you. So when you only have 10 turnovers and 11 turnovers in this one, and Scoot, who's doing a majority of the ball handling, especially late in the game, only has 1, you kind of hope that maybe it's that type of thing you can build off of a little bit.
Absolutely. And I think it shows player development, too, because we talk about the assists and the turnovers, but also Scoot has 2 steals and a block in this game with a plus-minus of 22. Now, I'm not a huge plus-minus guy, but just impact on the floor with his rotation and how he's playing, it speaks volumes as to his development and confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. Marcus chimes in on the YouTube chat. He says, give me more Scoot action. I think everyone wants some after that game. And then Kirk says, am I crazy? Scoot, Sharpe, Denny have awesome chemistry together. And here's the thing, Kirk, I don't think you're crazy because you're not the only one who saw it. You know who else saw it? Coach Burkhardt saw it. Filling in for Chauncey Billups, who was out last game. He'll be out again tonight. Our condolences go out to him.
Absolutely.
He's dealing with the passing of his grandmother. So you never want to have your coach gone in that situation because you know what? Here's the thing. I know that Chauncey's polarizing. I know there's a lot of people that will say things about the way he coaches, but man, there's a lot of things bigger than basketball.
100%.
And family's one of them. So regardless of what anyone thinks of Coach Billups, condolences go out to him. But to Kirk's point, Coach Burkhardt saw that. He saw that the chemistry was working, man. There's a reason that in the crunch time minutes in that game, Peyton, it was Scoot and it was Shea and it was Denny. And you had 2 in there on defense. Jeremy got in late, and it was DeAndre Ayton. He was going with the hot hand, which I absolutely love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And and like you said, I think that Denny is a huge game changer for us. When he brings the energy, it extends. But those 3 together, like you said, the chemistry's been, great to see.
Yeah, and so Kirk, you're not crazy, man. You're right on ball, and that's what you want. You want to see the chemistry with those guys. You want to see those guys to play off of each other, have fun doing it. And Denny is that type of guy too that I think he could feed off that energy that he brings, because he does bring a great energy to the floor. All right, this is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by my man Peyton Davis. I'm glad he's here because you can hear the cracking in my voice. You better get ready, because it might be gone by post game. Fifth quarter might be fifth quarter with Peyton Davis with Chris Burkhardt in the auxiliary seat. I need you to prepare the entire time. But we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, it is time for the coach's corner. I'm going to check in with my boy Brendan to see if we're going to get some live audio down there from Coach Borker. He is working it back there, man. He needs to get engineer wage as well, because he's out there just working his tail off. Brendan, we appreciate you. But plenty of more coming up here on Blazers Game Day on your home of the Trailblazers, Rip City Radio 620. Hey there, Blazers fans. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. It's time now for the Coach's Corner. We're just waiting patiently for Coach Burkhardt to get up to the podium. But when he does, we'll head over there, hear what he has to say ahead of this game, give us some injury updates. It did look like Denny Avdia, dealing with some low back tightness, I believe it was added to the injury report as questionable late in the day. So we'll see where that's going there. Maybe he'll get asked about his lineups, because his lineups have been pretty good. I like that about him last night, man. I like the fact that he played to what was playing well. I see too many coaches just stick to their rotation and stick to their guns. They're always like, okay, this guy always comes in at 6 minutes left. We got to put him in. They're like, no, like, don't take out the hot hand. And I like the unit was playing well, man.
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. I agree, and I think that's kind of shows, like you said, riding the hot hand, seeing the chemistry on the floor, and going with that feeling as a coach and saying, all right, here we go. We're going to mix it up a little bit, but works out.
Hey, it worked out last night. Kirk chiming in. He wants to see he wants to see with his own eyes. He wants to see Ayton and Klingon playing together. Yeah, it's fun. I've seen it. We've seen it a few times, Kirk. But you're right. I feel like it's been mostly these away games. Getting to see it at home is pretty wonderful. So anyway, Coach is at the booth or press conference. Let's go head down there right now. Hear what he has to say.
Still waiting on the starting lineup to go from there, to answer your question.
So you don't know about Denny yet, is that?
Questionable. So we're going to see. He's going to go do his pregame workout. He went through the close bowl walkthrough and all that stuff. So we'll see. But no, I do not know yet.
Coach, what have you seen out of Shaden's play the last couple weeks? And it seems like he's, I don't know, taking a step, but it seems like he's playing a bit of a different brand of basketball right now.
Yeah. I know I repeat myself when I say this when we talk about Shea, but when he focuses on defense, when he focuses on the little things, you see his offense really go. I thought in our last game against Utah, I thought his physicality on defense was outstanding. I thought his alertness and readiness on every play were great. That's what I love seeing out of him, because when that happens, man, he's so hard to guard. You know, he can shoot that three off a ball screen. He can take it all the way to the rim. To be able to shoot it like that without athleticism is rare. He has all of that. But I just liked, I thought the teammates, his teammates, our team found him when he was open in our most recent game, and he produced.
How much can you take from the game just a few days ago when the Mavs roster looks so different?
Yeah, the thing about the Mavs, I mean, when you go into a game like this, obviously we talk about our last game against Utah, and we talk about our recent game against Dallas, which we just played them, recently, like you said. So they're a very deep roster. They have players that can keep coming at you, whether they have guys in or out. They have an experienced roster. You can't let your guard down against this team. It's a very small margin of error when you play the Dallas Mavericks because of all the things that I just said. So they're deep. They can shoot it. They attack the rim. They can score in the paint. They're physical. And but you take it, you learn. We show clips on it. We talk about it. We talk about what we liked, what we didn't like last time, and we try to get better from it.
Nate, how do you, even though Donovan's missed some games, how do you kind of help him get through the rookie wall type stuff?
Donovan?
Yeah, but he just kind of revving him up. Even now, he's played more games in a shorter period of time than he's ever played. So
yeah.
How do you kind of help him get through that December, January, lulls that college guys start used to?
Yeah, it's a great question. You look at it, we've played, 30 games and 31 here tonight, and that's almost a college season. So it's a very good question. He came in and out of injury a little bit too. But what he does do is he works hard. And when you work hard like that, and when you're smart and want to learn from those around you, it really helps you. I'm looking for some big things out of him tonight. I thought he had a really good second half in his minutes in our most recent game. Big time rim protector, and we love it. We need his physical screening and dives to the rim and run the floor, and he's a presence out there. But all those things can come into play, but he's a mentally tough young player that we're going to see great things from all year long.
Coach, Scoot had a rough 6 games before Utah. In Utah, he just has one of the best games of his career. What's preventing him from becoming that guy more often?
Well, we saw that guy, and that was a fun guy to see, and it was the confidence level that he played with. 18 and 10, I think, was his final line, but it wasn't it was the double-double, but it wasn't that. I liked the way he was pushing the pace. I loved the way he was pressuring the ball, and those are two things that he can be very, very good at. I think sometimes it takes a little time, and you're going to have highs and lows during a season. Now I think if we can string together some more of these, games like he just played, we get another one like that tonight, it'd be outstanding. And that's what we expect. That's what he expects. And I just think you could see the confidence grow in him as that game went on all the way to the end, till the final shot that he made. And you can even see that in his step here today. So there'll be more and more good things coming with him.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks.
There you hear from Coach Burkhardt there in the pregame presser. We cut in just at the tail end there, but our Sean Hyken was tweeting about it. It does appear that Delano Benton, Robert Williams, and Tamani Kamara are out tonight. Denny Avdia will be a game-time decision, and so it does kind of sound like who starts for 2 tonight. Could it be Denny? It kind of depends on how Denny feels. He did go through the closed bowl practice that they had, and how he feels after his normal pregame routine will decide where he goes. So then here's a question for my man Peyton, who's joining me today. If you don't have 2, you don't have Denny, who do you start? Do you go maybe a Scoot, Ant, and then Shea at the 3 lineup? Do you go? Heck, you could even realistically, do you throw Ayton and Klingon at the bigs and let Jeremy play the 3? Like, do you go Jabari Walker at the 4? Do Jeremy go to, what do you do? Chris Murray, Ryan Rupert, what do you do?
I think that this is a great opportunity for those guys, Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert, to get some huge minutes. If it's me, I think that you probably stay with the Scoot Anthony. You go maybe Jeremy, and maybe you toy with that idea of going Ayton and Klingon. See what that kind of feels like. It doesn't have to be, you're committed to that for, the first 8 minutes or anything.
Yeah,
like
you can't be with Robert Williams.
Exactly,
that's for sure. But.
Exactly. So to see what that looks like, but I think, like you said, nail on the head. It's getting a great opportunity for maybe Chris Murray to get a start.
Yeah.
And have those guys like Jabari and Rupert get some big minutes.
Yeah, of course, and we'll see what the lineup is. Coach said he doesn't know what it is yet, because again, it all kind of depends on
question.
on how Denny's ready to go, because he's kind of the logical one to throw in there.
Totally.
Also, a cool little tidbit to this game, and we didn't get a chance to see it in person because we were up here prepping, but for those of you in the know, Greg Oden will be in the building tonight for the first time. He's coming in, and he's talking to the team about, the trials and tribulations and being an NBA player and dealing with the hardships and this and that. But Connor Bergen of Blazers Edge was tweeting out how, he spoke with the media. He'll be attending his first game, and he was talking about how he just loves Portland. It feels good to be back here because it's home. It's a place that changed his life. The injuries sucked, but they were good when they were on the court, man. And here's the thing: people want to label the bust label. It's so easy to throw on people, right? Greg Oden wasn't a bust. He was far from it. And here's the thing: he had injuries. And injuries happen, and they derailed him. But I don't think that makes him a bust. Does the fact that Derrick Rose's knees gave out make the rest of his career a bust? No, he was great. And Greg Oden was, the team won, 50 of the 82 games they played. They were good.
Say. I think they played 68 total games together. They won 53.
Right, yeah.
2 of them. It was a crazy record. It was awesome.
Yeah, and so he was really good. Now, Darko Milicic, that's a bust.
Yeah.
Anthony Bennett going number 1 overall to Cleveland, that's a bust.
Yeah.
Greg Oden wasn't a bust, man. Greg Oden was the right pick. And it's so easy to say things in hindsight, but you go into that draft, and we all knew it was him and KD. And it was about, the Blazers and the Sonics and where they're going. There was nobody who was taking Kevin Durant number 1 overall. Every other GM saw this guy who was a big akin to Shaq, who could change games on both ends of the floor, had a great offensive game, and they wanted him. So the fact that the injuries happened, it sucks. But you can, nobody. Just go back in history. Maybe one GM who's been just clinging to it like an I told you so. But we all knew Kevin Durant was going to be really good, too. That was the take on him. No one thought he was going to be a bust either. But you could say now that he got hurt, oh, yeah, should have absolutely taken Kevin Durant. But no, in that moment, nobody was taking anybody but Greg Oden.
Hindsight is always 20/20, but you also look at that Blazers roster, which to the top of my mind it's escaping me. But you look at the Blazers roster and what we needed, and Greg Oden made the most perfect sense.
Right.
It made sense. Now, if you're going to tell me that there was GMs out there that were saying this 7-footer that can shoot and play like a wing is going to revolutionize the game, I'd be like, you're lying. But like you said, it was the right pick, especially for the Blazers at the time. It was the right pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely it was. So It's cool to see him. I love Greg Oden.
Yeah,
I loved him in his short time here. I've always rooted for him. In fact, he's still the NBA 2K and all that still has his rights, so he's still in every NBA 2K
That's
game.
awesome.
He's part of the historical Blazers teams, and so full disclosure, I always, whenever I start a franchise, and I'm really weird when I play NBA 2K because I log like more hours on that game than like any other game. But I'll start a franchise and I'll get like 20 games in, and then I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of tired of this team. I want to play with a new team and new uniform. So next thing you know, I'm starting a franchise with Detroit or something random like that.
Yeah.
But the first thing I do is I go back to the create the roster, make sure Odin is in the free agent pool, and put him on whatever team I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
Turn the injury probability up so he doesn't get hurt. He's got good knees, and then I just jack that the block stat up to 99 because he was a beast.
That's awesome.
And then I just go get double doubles with blocks and rebounds with Greg Oden, and I live my best life, and it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I'll never forget, I had 2 in the fathead phase, the fathead craze where you had the posters on the wall of the actual life-size players. I had 2 in my room from the age of about 8 until I was 15, maybe 6 to 15.
Right.
And I had Peyton Manning for the Indianapolis Colts, and I had Greg Oden on my wall for years. 2 Greg Oden jerseys, one of my favorite players. I remember being Greg Oden for Halloween twice. And, it was, like I said, one of my favorite Blazers we've had.
Nice.
Just awesome.
Yeah, Marcus says, as I recall, Ben Golliver was a Durant fanatic and wanted him over Oden. I don't doubt that. When I said no one was taking, I was more referring to the general managers, Marcus. I think the debate within fans, there was probably quite a bit, man, because Kevin Durant was so good.
Yeah.
So good. But the thing is, I felt like, especially at that time in the NBA, a big coming through like that was just so hard to pass up.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit different. Look, granted, they aren't the same because just the way Greg Oden dominated at Ohio State. But Donovan Clingan, right? He falls to 7. You know what I'm saying? Like Wemby gets taken number 1, but he's also a 7'6", and he's just a freak, a unicorn of a guy.
Yeah,
but
and we've gotten to a new age in the NBA where, like, in that time when you drafted based on what you had on your team currently.
Yeah.
Whereas now, when you go into the draft, you're going for best talent. You
Yep.
know, you are working around. You get for the Spurs, you get Victor Wembanyama. You are now shaping your team around Victor. Whereas, like, back then you would go for a player to work around your team. So it's kind of flip flopped a little bit in that sense too. Whereas, like, nowadays in drafts, you're going for the most talented individual.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Kirk says, he says, I thought Durant was too skinny. I think everybody did. That was the whole. Once he's got to put on muscle. He's got to put on muscle. Also, shout out Marcus for a Ben Golliver drop on the on game day today. I know Chad's had him on Rip City Drive a few times, and he rolls through town again every now and then. But he's big time in us over there at the Washington Post still, but he was with Blazers Edge for a while. He's good people.
Yeah.
And hey, Ben knows ball, Marcus. Ben does know ball. So I don't doubt that he was probably on the Kevin Durant train. Like I said, I know a lot of people were. I remember creating a Facebook group that was Bring Greg Oden to Portland. That's how old I am, because I was old enough to, I was creating Facebook groups back when you had to have a .edu account just to open a Facebook account.
Oh, geez.
That really did happen. I know you're too young to remember,
I am.
but it really did happen. We all thought, all of us hated it the minute they opened it up. We're like, oh no, our private little social platform. Now our parents are on it. It was terrible. But Greg Oden, man, Blazers Edge, born and raised. Marcus says, man, yeah. Shout out to Ben Golliver. Yeah, I met Ben Golliver for the first time in the playoffs in San Antonio when he needed a ride back to the hotel from the arena, and me and that was Chris Haynes at the time, Dwight James were like, "There's room in the minivan, hop on in," and that's when I met Ben Golliver. So
that's awesome.
Shout out to Ben Golliver. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we return, though, we are going to head not to the coach's corner. We already did that, but we're gonna head to the cooler, if it were, for some Coors cold hard facts. Peyton teased it a little bit ago. He's getting good at this radio thing. You know what a tease is? You're like, stay, I got a thing, but you got to stay later because I'm going to give it to you. So we're going to give you the floor. We're going to let you drop that on us. This is Blazers Game Day, presented by Coors Light right here on your home, the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by Peyton Davis to my right. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can hit me up on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. We'll pop up right there where you guys have been awesome. You've been liking, you've been sharing, subscribing. We just got our 1,000th sub on our YouTube page. Good times.
Oh, yeah.
Good times. Go be number 1,001. You guys are awesome. But in the YouTube chat, Marcus says he thinks Kevin Pelton was also a Durant guy, but he was complicated by the Sonics love. I get that. And then Kirk says, I still remember Jay Billis dogging Riddenauer, saying he couldn't guard the chair. And he's my Come on. And as I typed it, I will not stand for Luke disrespect. Either Luke Jackson, or Luke Riddenauer, or Barlow, great Fred Jones. I mean, come on. That team was awesome. Gosh. That team they had, didn't they have what, Christopherson at center as well? Oh, boy. That's
that
right.
Was the name I was trying to find.
That's right. You didn't know anything, you darn beaver. You don't even know.
I try to pay attention.
You're over here. You're trying to flex on me, and you're like, yeah, I got Gary Payton the second.
AC
right?
Green. Don't forget AC Green.
Yeah, and Drew Eubanks. I'm not gonna stand for that. That team though, with old Ernie Kent, that was fun times. Jordan Kent was there too. I'd always go to the rec. I'm sure you probably went to the student rec there at OSU and got your gym runs in all the time, right?
Of course.
So I went in, and I was a football player and a baseball player. Was not a basketball player. Like, I played in middle school, but I have two right hands, or like, I guess two left hands.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. I can only dribble with my right hand, my
Gotcha.
dominant hand. I'm getting better now at my left because I put in some time. But if I got the ball, it's easy to guard me. I'm only going one way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so my buddy who was on the basketball team in high school, he's like, "Come play with us." I'm like, "You don't want me," and I was trash. And they just coached me up. And after 4 or 5 years, I was a pretty good basketball player by the end of it because we ran all the time. But I ran one time, and Duck legend, NBA stud Aaron Brooks was there playing, and he was the smallest guy on his team, smallest guy on my team. So I got tasked with guarding him. Right? I'll never forget that he made me look foolish. I'm pretty sure I strained my MCL by the time it was done, just trying to keep up. And he was going at about 20%.
Yeah.
Right? And just clowned me so hard. To the point that on a campus of 20,000 people, I walked by him like a week later, and he saw me, and all he did was chuckle.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, yeah, this is bad. So I'm here now, and I'm a journalist. I'm working the team. And back when I was at NBC, my job was to go to the visiting locker room, and he was here when he was playing with the Nuggets, and so we do our interviews. I'm like, "Hey, Aaron," and he looks at me. I'm like, just totally random. I'm like, "You probably don't remember me, but dude, I used to guard you all the time at the Student Rec Center. You clowned me so hard every time." He looks at me and he chuckles again. He just goes, "I was just getting my shots up," and I'm like,
You're like, I shouldn't
You
ask.
clown me so hard, bro. Cold hard fact: I cannot guard an NBA player. So if you think you can, you can't. That's a cold hard fact.
No.
Speaking
Yes.
of cold hard facts, Brendan, hit the intro because it's time for our Coors.
It's
Cold Hard
time for the Cold Hard Facts. Presented by Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly.
All right, now that we're into our cold hard fact, I throw it over to you because you got one for me, Peyton. What is it?
My cold hard fact is, based off of everything I've seen, I think that Denny Advia is a top 5 contract for the Blazers in the NBA. I think him having, the option he has, making $15 million a year with his production, I think that it is pretty clear that he is could be or is, in my opinion, a top 5 contract in the NBA.
Okay. He's laying it down, and you're not wrong. You know what actually makes his contract absolutely phenomenal? And with this production, and I think a lot of people might go, whoa, top 5, that's kind of crazy. I don't think you're too far off because his contract de-escalates.
Correct.
Which is a rarity in NBA contracts.
Correct.
So right now, in his 4 years with the Blazers, this is the most valuable his contract will be at $15.6 million. Next year, he will be slated to make $14.3, then $13.1, and the final year of his contract, if he is playing anywhere close to where he is right now, he'll be just 28 years old, making $11 million.
That's what I'm seeing. I mean, he's still a young guy. He's got so many years of experience as a vet or as a pro, and also, what are we seeing with teams that are super successful like the Dallas Mavericks right now? It is lengthful wing players. It is
Yeah.
players that with size and length that can still move. I've watched Ndiaye multiple times take a rebound from the fast break and go 94 feet and lay it up on the other side. And
Yeah.
that's something that not a lot of players or not a lot of teams have.
Yeah.
And so to get him at the value we got, I think is great. And to turn that around and say, look at what Malcolm Brogdon's doing in Washington,
Yeah.
and look at what the extent of that trade was, I think that it's, pretty clear in my eyes.
Yeah, having that contract that goes down in value every year, that's so nice to
Awesome.
have.
It's
and again,
awesome.
it's rare. It's rare to have, and it's not like it's a bad thing. Some people will be like, "Oh, it's a terrible deal." It's like, no. At the end of the day, like he's still making the same amount of money on the deal. You just either front load it or back load it, and all these contracts tend to be back loaded. But he took the front end load, and it's worked out for him.
Yeah.
And you're right, because like the way he grabs rebounds and pushes the ball, it's very very awesome to like how. Draymond did with the Prime Warriors, and the Blazers have been looking for a guy like that forever.
Absolutely.
And in today's NBA, you need someone who's going to grab rebounds and push tempo and get you out there, and he does a wonderful job.
And it's not like he's a guy that, is a 6'5", 6'6" guy who's pushing the floor. It's like a Draymond where he's 6'9", 6'10", pushing the ball down the floor. It's not, he can make a decision passing-wise and make a play, or he can go lay the ball up or dunk it at 6'10". So I'd been thinking about that one for a while, was happy to bring it.
Yeah, well, it's a good one. Let's see. I'll bring you back because you understood the assignment. You nailed it. Solid
we
A,
got
my
it,
man.
ladies and gentlemen.
Solid
Mission
man.
accomplished. I'm coming back.
Kirk chimes back in. He said he had an awesome career, which I'm assuming he's still talking about AB. AB did. He had a real good career. Good run with the Rockets and bounced around just a little bit. And then Luke Rittenhauer, famous for being traded like 6 different times on one day. Sorry to make you cry again, Kirk, but I say that respectfully because I loved Luke. I loved Luke Rittenauer, man. I loved him playing with the Sonics. There's something so cool about seeing the abduct go up and playing the team that's also green and yellow. Like it just feels right. So man, that's awesome times. Awesome times. I also watched Malik Hairston and Bryce Taylor, who were the starting shooting guard and small forward for the Ducks at the time, come into the rec, play on the court that I wasn't playing on, when Malik Hairston would grab the rebound because no one could out-rebound him, and then throw a full-court pass that was an alley-oop to Bryce Taylor. First to 11, they won on 11 straight full-court alley-oops. And they played one game, 11 alley-oops and left. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Good thing they left. That's the stuff that makes everybody not want to come back.
No, right. It was more like they're going to put on a show, free admission, baby. It was awesome. All right, we're going to take our final break of the show here. When we come back, it is time for our keys to the game. Peyton and I are going to tell you what we think the Blazers need to do to get win number 2 in a row and take down the Luke-less Dallas Mavericks. Luke-less. That sounds like someone's name, like at starting center, Peyton Luke-less.
It does, actually. I like that.
Yeah, I do like that. Chris Burkhardt here, joined by Peyton Davis. This is Blazers Game Day presented by Coors Light. We return after the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
You're listening to Blazers Game Day on your home of the Portland Trailblazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Kirk chimes back in, says that he was dunked on by Fred Jones. Open gym, Dennis Nathan from Gresham was the best athlete I've ever seen up close personally. Okay. I played with a guy by the name of Timothy Rodriguez in baseball, the best baseball player I ever saw. He's phenomenal. And then he made it to like high-level single A, and that was my like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to get through the farm system in Major League Baseball. Thought this guy was a shoo-in to make it pro. Pretty wild. And the Tall Tim says he'll be sporting his Greg Oden shirt tonight. Thanks for the reminder. Shout out. All right, it is time now, though, for our keys to the game.
What will it take for a Trailblazers victory tonight? Here is Chris Burkhardt with his keys to the game.
The keys to the game intro is a little bit like my car. Sometimes it just takes a minute to start up. No big deal. All right, my keys to the game, and then we'll get to yours, Peyton. But my keys to the game are just find ways to continue to do what you did in that Utah game. I like the ball control, right? The fact that Scoot had 10 assists and only 1 turnover. As I said, we see a lot of games where they have low turnovers or low assists and high turnovers. Case in point, the last time they played Dallas, they had 23 assists, which is very low, and they had 18 turnovers. I mean, when you have 23 assists and your turnovers still almost match, not a recipe for success. Secondly, again, find ways to get that three-point shot going. They were just 8 of 29 against Dallas in a game that, you want to go out there and you want to make shots. You need those shots, especially in today's game. You got to be able to hit that three-pointer. But for me, I think it all starts and ends with ball security, and then finding ways to get the Dallas team to force some turnovers, or force turnovers by Dallas. Because again, without Luka on there, ball's going to be in Kyrie's hand. Now, Kyrie only had 2 assists last time they played, but at the same time, that's because Luka was playing, right? Yeah. And you got to factor that in. Without him, it's going to be very Kyrie-centric. They're 2 different kinds of passers, so I think if you play kind of the same exact defense as you played last time, you might be caught off guard a little bit. So understand that you're playing one of the best ball handlers the game's ever seen in Kyrie, and he likes to pass the ball. Those are my keys. What are yours?
I had those on my list as well in terms of assist to turnover ratio and getting the ball moving. I also think that with 2 out tonight, I think who are we going to have and how are we going to put a little bit more focus on Kyrie and make him pass the ball. I think that with having no Luka Magic on the floor tonight, it is we're not going to let Kyrie beat us. We're going to let those other guys, they have to make shots and have to make plays in order to beat us. So who are we going to have as the primary defender on Kyrie? And the second is fouling. Scoot had a great game last game, 18 and 10, 2 steals, 1 block with low fouls. So how do we keep that in check, and how are we going to minimize the fouling going against a team that, has a real good primary scorer?
Very nice. I like it. Good job. Kirk chimes back in, says Josh Ulmer and Freddie Jones played a couple of times at Cascade Athletic Club out in Gresham. Josh, a beautiful shot, but he was a very nice person, is what he says. Didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know we were going to get Ben Golliver drops, talk old school Ducks, and then get a Cascade Athletic Club drop on here. I used to work at Cascade Athletic Club. I worked at the East Gresham location, but I lived right next to the Gresham location. My wife works there now. It's a shout-out Cascade Athletic Club.
Shout-out. Absolutely.
Go get your shots in, baby. Go get your shots in. That's how I like to end my workouts is I always end my workouts when I do work out. You can't tell, but I haven't gone to the gym in like a year. But I always like to end with a little just go get in the gym, get some shots in as a cool down. But I always hate when it's like packed, because then it's like someone's going to ask me to play pickup, and I'm not good enough to play pickup with you randos who are going to probably yell at me and be mad. And I don't like playing with toxic people.
No. I stopped going to 24-hour fitness a long time ago.
I also used to work at a 24-hour fitness. So before I got into the sports biz, I was in the fitness biz.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the fitness biz. Had some fun doing it. But I'm sure you hear the music in your ear. I hear it in mine, though. It means it's time to go. Peyton, thank you so much for joining me. You're going to be back with me for the post-game show right here on Rip City Radio at 620. But stay locked in, because coming up next, Chad Dewing will have your Blazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network. Then tip-off at 7 o'clock, Blazers versus Mavs. Your radio voice of the Trailblazers, Travis Demers, will be on the call. And then, of course, as always, after the game, come right back here for the 5th quarter, where hopefully Peyton and myself are breaking down a Trailblazers win. We'll talk to you after the game.